Padaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Aradhyo Bhagavan Brajesha Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavanam Ramya Kachidupasana Brajavadhu Vargena Vakalpita Srimad Bhagavatam Pramanam Amalam Prema Pumartho Maha Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu Matamidam Tatra Dharana Paraha Anarpita Charim Chirat Karunaya Vatirna Kalau Samarpayitum Unnatojvala Rasam Swabhakti Shriyam Hari Purata Sundara Jyuti Kadamba Sandipita Sada Hridaya Kandare Spuratu Vashachi Nandana Jaya Jaya Shri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Dvaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jagat Mangala Advaita Mangala Gunadham Mangala Charitra Sada Mangala Jarana.
Hare Krishna, we'd like to welcome all of our YouTube Live listeners, our listeners over Facebook Live, and all of our dear listeners over Zoom. We welcome all of you to this day 40 of Sri Gauramrita. We would like to announce and congratulate the devotees who participated in the quiz session from session 39. We'd like to congratulate Mother Flavia and Radha Mataji. And Ranjani Gopika Mataji, congratulations to all of you for participating in the quiz session from yesterday.
So today in session 40, we will continue to describe the transcendental treasure trove of Sri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's youthful and devotional pastimes. Then we'll describe the glories of Srivas Thakur, the exquisite beauty of Sri Gaura Sundar's devotional personality, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu's mercy at the home of Srivas Thakur, how Srivas Thakur, very eloquent prayers, he glorified Lord Chaitanya, and how Sri Gaura Hari makes little Narayani cry in pure love of God. Who is this little Narayani? Wait and stay tuned to find out. Can we have the PPT, please? And then we will conclude today's session by describing the Phala Stuti, the benefits we receive by listening to these transcendental pastimes of Sri Gaura Hari. So in Madhya Leela chapter 2, Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur in his Chaitanya Bhagavat describes the glories of Srivas Thakur. Next slide, please.
So Srivas Thakur was a very, very soft-hearted and an extremely magnanimous personality. The news that the atheists of Nadia were speaking so derogatingly about the Vaishnavas, which we heard yesterday. Srivas Pandit, when he heard this, he became very disturbed and he became very concerned also for the Vaishnavas. He was very apprehensive because he knew that anything could happen under the Muslim rule, because he knew that the government officials were coming. So he was a little apprehensive, seeing what is going to come, just envisioning probably what is going to come. Next slide, please. But Srivas Thakur, his devotion never stopped even for a moment. And now we'll witness how Srivas Thakur got the supreme compassion of Sri Gaura Sundara. The Supreme Lord Sri Gaura Sundara, who is the super soul in everyone's heart, he knew very well what was going on. And the devotees were still not aware that the Supreme Lord had come and actually appeared in their midst, that he had come as the answer of Sri Advaita Acharya's prayers. Many devotees did not know this yet. Next slide, please. Now let us talk about Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur. Very beautifully he describes the beauty of the devotional personality of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, the exquisite beauty of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. The Lord was beginning to manifest himself. Lord Vishwambhara used to roam everywhere, unperturbed and unconcerned. His transcendental beauty was unmatched within the entire creation. Next slide, please. Vrindavan Das Thakur says that Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu's body, his transcendental body, was decorated with sandalwood paste. Let us meditate on these beautiful forms, these beautiful pictures. Allow us, Srila Prabhupada said, that these pictures are nothing but windows to the spiritual world. So we are so fortunate that we can actually envision how the Lord actually is. Chandana Charachita, Neela Kalevara, Shama Vamsidhari, something, I forget the last line. But this is how in Gita Govinda it is described that he's Chandana Charachita. His body is decorated with sandalwood paste. Next slide, please. It is said that Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu's lips, his lotus lips, are like the early morning sun. Just like how reddish the early morning sun is, just like that is the lips of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Next slide, please. It is said that the eyes of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu are like the blooming lotus flower, the white lotus flower which is just blooming. That's how Gauranga Mahaprabhu's transcendental eyes are. Next slide, please. It is said that Mahaprabhu's cascading, curly locks of hair is like it falls so beautifully over his shoulders, and his lotus face glows like the effulgent moon. Next slide, please. He wears a Brahman thread around his shoulders and dresses in exquisite clothes. Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu, look at the Brahmin thread around him. It is said that the Brahmin thread is the personification of Sri Ananta Shesh, so beautifully adorning the lion-like broad chest of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Next slide, please. And Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu always dresses very eloquently, very, very fine outfits he wears. His exquisite personal beauty completely captivates the mind. He would casually chew on some palm and he would walk on the riverbank of the Ganges. When the devotees would see such a magnanimous personality, they would become automatically very, very joyful. But the atheistic people, they felt very intimidated.
These atheistic people, they would say, he must have heard everything, yet he does not show any sign of fear. He strolls about as though he's a prince. Then another person said, listen, friends, I understand all this. Wait and see. What you are observing now is just another trick to escape. But Lord Vishwambhar, he would not be fearful at all of these criticisms. He would just fearlessly look in every direction. He would observe the scenic beauty of the swift flowing Ganga and her banks. Next slide, please. And then he saw a herd of cows grazing on the banks of Ganga. Some of them went into the river to drink water, and few ones they jumped about with raised tails. And when Lord Gauranga saw this sight, it immediately agitated the Lord. Why? Next slide. Because he forgot himself and began imitating loud sounds like roaring. He kept saying, I am him, I am him. And he was referring to Krishna because he got immersed in his own pastimes when he came as Krishna, and how he would play with the cowherd boys, the cows and the calves, how he would love them. And seeing this sight on the Ganges, on the banks of the Ganges, of all these cows and calves, he just immersed himself in the mood of Krishna. And in the same mood, shouting, I am him, he ran to Srivas Pandit's house. Next slide, please. This is Srivas Pandit's house in Navadvip. And he went inside. He said, what are you doing now, Srivas? He started banging on the door. Inside, Srivas was engaged. Next slide, please. Srivas was engaged in worshipping Lord Nrsingadev behind closed doors. The Lord came. He kicked open the door and he screamed out, who are you worshiping? Whom are you meditating on? The person who you are worshipping is here. And he referred to himself. Srivas Pandit saw. He looked at Lord Nrsingadev. Then he looked at Lord Caitanya. Then he looked at Lord Nrsingadev again. He was just trembling and sat awestruck. And then the Lord spoke to Srivas. Oh, Srivas, all this time you did not know who I was. I left my spiritual abode of Vaikuntha, came down to this material world because you called me at your beckoning, your loud chanting of the holy name, and Advaita Acharya's loud calling. That's why I've come. And now that I've come here, you don't even recognize me. You're living completely complacent and unconcerned. You're avoiding me. And look, avoiding me, Advaita Acharya Prabhu has gone back to Shantipur. I have come to protect the pious, punish the miscreants. There is no need for you to worry. Just go on worshipping. Seeing this form of Lord Chaitanya, tears filled Srivas Thakur's eyes, and his heart just swelled with gratitude and love for the Lord. All his fears that he may have had by listening to the gossip of the atheistic people and the criticisms, all those fears were destroyed by these assuring words of the Lord. In fact, currents of joy passed through the body of Srivas Thakur, and he stood up with folded hands, offering prayers to the Lord. Srivas Pandit, he was such a good devotee, such a pure devotee. He was a great scholar. And having received the Lord's order, he began to offer prayers to him. He recited from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Lord Brahma's prayers to Lord Krishna, where he says, "O Lord," next slide please, "O Lord, you are eternally worshipable." This is Srivas Thakur praying to Advaita Acharya. Praying to Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. You are eternally worshipable, Supreme Personality of Godhead. Next slide, please. Your complexion is blackish, like the monsoon cloud. And the color of your cloth is yellow, like a flash of light. Next slide, please. these wild flowers, they adorn your ears, and a peacock feather adorns your crown. Your face looks so exquisite. A gently swaying flower garland hangs around your neck. Next slide, please. Your mouth is smeared with the curd that you have just eaten, and your transcendental possessions. Next slide, please. The cane, the horn, and flutes are special features of your beauty. Next slide, please. Your feet are so soft. Next slide, please. Like the petals of the lotus. I worship you, the son of Maharaj Nanda. I worship the lotus feet of Lord Vishwambhar, whose complexion is like the blackish moon monsoon cloud, and who wears a yellow dress. I offer obeisances at the lotus feet. Next slide, please. Of the son of Sri Jagannath Mishran Mai. A million full moons fade before the exquisite beauty of his face. I offer my obeisances at your lotus feet, my Lord. You who hold the cane, the flute, and I offer obeisances, my obeisances to your lotus feet, who have been declared by the Vedas as the son of Maharaj Nanda. And Srivas Pandit, he prayed to Lord Chaitanya like Brahma to the Lord's lotus feet. Next slide, please. Observing this wonderful form of the Lord, Srivas Pandit was unable to control himself, and he fell into an ecstatic trance with currents of joy running through his body, merged into an ocean of happiness. And he raised his arms, and he wept and breathed heavily and rolled on the ground ecstasy, seeing Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu in the mood of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. We can end the slideshow here, please. And then the Lord smiled, and he accepted Srivas Thakur's prayers with great satisfaction. Bring all your relatives and let them see my form. Along with your wife, worship my feet and ask for any boon that your heart desires. So Srivas Pandit, immediately, he followed the instructions of the Lord, went into his house, gathered all the relatives, friends, wives, and then returned quickly to the presence of the Lord.
Srivas was continuously weeping with ecstatic joy. He was feeling so happy. And the flowers that he had collected for the worship of Lord Vishnu and for the worship of Lord Rishikedev, he worshipped the lotus feet of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu with that. So all the articles of worship, his incense, the flowers, the ghee lamp, everything along with his wife, Malini Devi, and all of his brothers, his other relatives, his servants, his maidservants, they all together, they offered worship at the lotus feet of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu. They fell down earnestly begging for mercy from the Lord. Srivas Thakur is extremely dear to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, the Lord blessed him as well as everyone present by placing his lotus feet upon their heads. This is the mercy and this is the benefit of being dear to the Lord. It is said that when we become dear to the Lord or his devotees, then the Lord loves not only us, but whoever is dear to us. So therefore, our aspiration should be that if we can somehow or other become dear to Srila Prabhupada, somehow or other develop relationship, deep relationship with our Guru Vargas. That is the secret that we can, because Krishna will anyways give mercy to Srila Prabhupada, to all of our Guru Vargas, and when they receive the mercy, we will be guaranteed to receive that same mercy. This is the secret for success in spiritual. The Lord, very, very mercifully, he said, smilingly, he told Srivas, may your attachment and attraction for me increase. The Lord spoke loudly, roaring like a lion, and addressing Srivas, he said, "Oh Srivas, are you afraid of something? Do you have something that is troubling you? I have heard news. News has reached me that the government men want to come and capture you. And they have come. They're going to be coming in 2 boats. I have heard this news. I am the super soul in everyone's heart. And I control and direct everyone's activities according to my own sweet will. The king will only be able to capture you if I, situated in the heart of the king, prompt him to do so." That's the first thing the Lord said. So you see how the Lord is assuring Srivas Thakur that there's no need for him to be apprehensive or to be frightened of anything of impending danger. How merciful is the Lord? The Lord said, first of all, nothing bad can happen to you. If only I, sitting in the heart of the king, allow him to capture you, only then he can capture you. Second thing the Lord said, if for some reason, if that king acts independently and gives the order to capture you, then I will do the following. Listen to what I will do. I will be the first one to step on that boat, and I will present myself before the king, before even you. On seeing me, do you think he will still remain sitting on the throne? I will delude him and take complete control of him. If the king evades this move of mine, then I have one more alternative. Here's my third alternative. I will tell the king, listen to the truth, O king. Call out to all of your religious heads and all your qazis, let them come. And then order all your qazi priests to read from your scriptures and inspire every listener to such a state of spiritual emotion that they will begin to cry. I will make them do that. So then after saying this, the Lord said, if they even fail to do that, fourth option, then I will reveal my true identity to the king. Then I will tell the king, O king, on the instructions of these same Qazi priests, whose spiritual power you've already witnessed, you want to forbid the congregational chanting of the holy names of God. Now you see my power to the full satisfaction of your eyes. I will capture a mad elephant and I will bring him here. And along with all the forest animals, I will bring them here and I will make them dance and I will make them cry in emotional love of God. I will make the king, I will make the men cry and chant Krishna's name. I know. Srivas, I gave you these 4 options. But this last option that I gave you, I think you are feeling that you're not believing me, I feel. But I will show you right now, and you can see for yourself. So it is said that Srivas Thakur, after worshipping the Lord, had also offered some bhoga to the Lord. And then the Lord noticed, while he was speaking like this to Srivas, he said, you don't believe me that I can make anyone cry and chant Krishna's name? While because of chanting Krishna's name, I can make someone cry. You don't believe me, no? Wait, I will show you. The Lord was eating at that time. He called a small girl, a 4-year-old girl, who was the family of Srivas Thakur. She was the daughter, she was actually Srivas Thakur's niece. And she was the daughter of one of the brothers of Srivas. And Mahaprabhu called, come here, Esho, come. And this little 4-year-old girl came to Gauranga Mahaprabhu. Mahaprabhu gave her little prasad directly from the plate, from his own plate. He gave her little prasad. And he said, Narayani, how? Her name was Narayani. And then she ate that Mahaprasad. And then Gauranga Mahaprabhu said to her, Narayani, Krishna Boliya Kado, meaning
chant Krishna's name. cry in ecstasy.
My dear Narayani. And who is this Narayani? Narayani is the blessed mother of the author of Chaitanya Bhagavat Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur. And as soon as Gauranga Mahaprabhu told her, Narayani, Krishna boliya kado, Narayani, cry, chant Krishna's name and cry in ecstasy. As soon as these words came out of Gauranga Mahaprabhu's lotus mouth,
this 4-year-old girl just became extremely agitated with ecstatic spiritual emotions and cried out, "Oh Krishna, oh Krishna!" And she began to weep. She lost all perception of the external world. Tears were streaming down her body. She fell to the ground. But Vishwambhar looked at Srivas, smiling. He said, "Are your fears pacified now?" Srivas was dumbstruck. All Vaishnavas will remember for many years to come how Narayani was a recipient of the Lord's mercy. She is the mother of Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur, as we said. That means Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur's cousin grandfather is Srivas Pandit. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur's grandfather's brother is Srivas Pandit. So you can see how glorious this lineage is. Srivas Thakur then threw up both of his hands and he said, "My Lord, when you exhibit your terrible form as all-devouring time and annihilate the entire material creation, still I will fearlessly chant your holy name, having faith, the faith that you have given me just now. Even at the end of time, I will be fearless by chanting your holy name. And now that you are here, present before me, in my house, why do I have to fear?" And seeing the Lord manifest his opulent Vaikuntha form, suddenly Srivas, along with all the assembled relatives, brothers, wife, and servants, they went into an ecstatic trance. He displayed the transcendental form of the Lord. That was being seen even by the servants and maidservants of Srivas Thakur, which personified Vedas are eager to see. And then Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur says, "How can I describe this magnanimous nature of Srivas Pandit? A little dust from the lotus feet of Srivas Pandit can purify the entire creation." Srivas Pandit was loved by all the Vaishnavas. Anyone who came to Srivas Pandit's house experienced great joy. Even the servants, the maid servants in the house of such a devotee, they were able to see this rarest of sights, the Supreme Personality of Godhead in person.
And from this we understand that serving a pure devotee of the Lord is the best process and the easiest process of attaining the supreme goal, because by the mercy of a Vaishnava, one can certainly receive the shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna.
Then Lord Vishwambhar, he cautioned and ordered Srivas Pandit, "Do not speak about this incident to anyone." And then suddenly the Lord regained his external consciousness. And after comforting Srivas Pandit, he returned to his own house. What was his external consciousness? That he's a devotee. At that time, just seeing the cows and the calves on the bank of Ganges, he went into his internal moods and manifested himself as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And then he retained his external consciousness as a devotee of the Lord and left the house. And Srivas Pandit's whole house was just immersed in jubilation. So here it says the Phala Stuti is, whoever reads Srivas Pandit's prayers to the Lord, they will immediately be elevated to the position of eternal servant of Lord Krishna.
And it is said that just as Sri Krishna appeared in the prison house in Mathura, in the home of Vasudeva, and all of his pastimes were performed in the house of Nanda Maharaj in Braj. Similarly, Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu appeared in the house of Sri Jagannath Mishra, but all of his Braja Leela, the manifestation of the Braja mood, was performed at the home of Srivas Thakur. Jai. Whoever is fortunate, Vrindavan Das Thakur says, that whoever is fortunate to hear this exquisite and very confidential pastime of Sri Gauranga Mahaprabhu at the home of Srivas Thakur, where the Lord eternally resides, with faith and devotion, will be able to cry in pure love of Sri Gaura Sundar, Sri Gaura Hari.
Jai, Gaura Hari. এখানে রহিল গ্রন্থ অমৃত লহরী বদন ভরে একবার বলো হরি 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 হরি.
So today we pray for a few devotees. We pray for Bhakti Priya. She is a little sick today. So Bhakti Priya, we are dedicating our kirtan for you, Buddha. We pray that you feel better soon. We also continue to pray for the cousin of our dearest Vanita, Kanhai, who is actually doing very much better now. By all of the prayers of the Vaishnavas, he is really recovering very well. So we continue to dedicate our prayer to Kanhai Prabhu. And we dedicate our prayers to Kirti, to Madhubhashini Mataji and family, to Shivani Mataji and her family, for Uday Prabhu, Lavanya and Vishruta, for Anjali and her family, for Mother Flavier and her family, for Radha Mataji from Hyderabad and family, for Keshavi from Hyderabad and family, for Shweta Manjari Mataji and family. And we also dedicate today's kirtan
to His Grace Prem Vikas Prabhu and Divyangi Mataji, whose wedding anniversary was last Tuesday. So wishing them a belated happy anniversary and prayers from all of us. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Prachari Nirvishesha Shunyavad Paschatya Vaishnavani Jaya Shri Krishna Caitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
We also dedicate this kirtan to Vijaya Lakshmi Mataji for her health, and we pray to Lord Nrsingadev for the protection of all the devotees, for everyone who are undergoing any kind of misery. May Lord Nrsingadev protect everyone.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Jai Shri Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki, Srila Prabhupada ki,
Jai.
Gaura Bhakta Vrinda ki.
Jai. Hare Krishna.
So before we open the line for questions, here are the quiz questions for today. First, how does Sri Vrindavan Das Thakur describe the transcendental beauty of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Second, what pastime did Lord Chaitanya manifest on seeing some calves on the banks of the Ganges?
Third, what is the secret of success in our spiritual lives? Fourth, how did Lord Chaitanya reassure Srivas Thakur, who was being criticized and threatened by the atheists?
Fifth, what is the niece? Who is the niece of Srivas Thakur and how old was she? Name the exalted devotee that she gave birth to. Sixth, what was the miraculous transformation that manifested on Srivas Thakur's niece?
7, what is the Phala Stuti of reading Srivas Pandit's prayers to Lord Chaitanya? Fantastic questions, Divyangi and Vikas Prabhu. Thank you so much. We are so grateful to you. Now we can open the lines. Garima.
Hare Krishna Mataji Prabhuji Nandan Pranam Avlasha Share Prabhupada and Gurudev. I really love this class today about Gauranga and Narayani, like how Gauranga called Narayani that and he Gauranga and he gave Narayani some prasad and Narayani ate it. So Gauranga was telling her chant Krishna, chant Krishna. So she became ecstatic and like the whole pastime went. So also it's related with my Guru Maharaj and me. So he gave me dosa one time and he told me that I will take the hot dosa and you take the cold dosa. So I took the cold dosa and I gobbled it. From his plate. Yeah, I took it from his plate, like he gave me from his plate, and then downstairs in the guest house I ate it.
Wow.
Garima. So Garima.
Then did you chant Krishna?
No, he didn't chant Krishna.
I'm sure when you chant Hare Krishna, Gauranga Mahaprabhu dances when you chant Hare Krishna.
Yes.
Thank you so much,
Thank
Garima.
you.
Thank you.
Want to speak?
Yeah.
Okay.
And Dina, in the night time, how one dream about dad, he was had me and he was also playing with me with the little dice and fire.
Okay,
He said
incapable.
No, he said at night I
Yeah,
had
he
a
said
dream.
that Jagannath was hugging me and he was playing with me with these little cars and fire trucks.
Wow. Jai
Hari Bol.
Jagannath.
Jai
Okay.
Jagannath.
Jagannath. Thank you, Mataji Prabhuji, for wonderful
Thank
class.
you. Hare
Very
Krishna.
grateful to you.
Hare
Thank you so
Krishna.
much. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Beta. Hari Bol.
Any other questions or comments? Haribol. Any other questions, comments? Anyone? Hare Krishna.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. The pictures are so beautiful, Mataji, so blissful and divine. Very nice. Just looking at them, got tears into my eyes. Some of the pictures so beautiful. Thank you for sharing those pictures and a nice class. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much. Actually, this was Prabhu's idea. Prabhu said that, we have also received some feedback that when we have the PPTs, devotees really like it so much. So therefore, we are trying to do some of these pastimes. They do not have any, pictures that we already have. So we are just trying to do this. This was Prabhu's idea. He said, no, we should have at least a few slides, at least for some part of the class every day. So we will try our best, if you're with all of your blessings, that we try to do some PPT for all of you. for all of your pleasure. And we'll definitely share it with everyone.
Thank you.
Mataji, your Kirtan is so beautiful, so sweet. Prabhuji,
Huh, Mataji?
so well. Yes,
We
bhajan,
want
Mataji.
to hear you clearly.
దగ్గర कुछ మాట్లాడు.
आप इतना अच्छा गाते हैं, చాలా మంచిగా పాడతారు భజన్.
Mataji,
We can
అర్థం
hear
కావట్లేదు.
Prabhuji, but not.
No, no, she's saying, Mataji, your bhajan is so beautiful, so blissful. She's talking about the kirtan that you sang.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's all by your blessings, Prabhuji and Mataji.
Mm.
Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
कोटि कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम माताजी प्रभुजी हरि हरि गौरांगा ब्यूटीफुल दर्शन माताजी.
Thank you. Thank you. Hare Krishna. Is Shamala here?
Hare
Oh,
Krishna, Mataji.
Hare
Hare
Bol,
Krishna.
Madhavi. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, Mataji. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Guru and Gauranga. Mataji, would you please have darshan of our temple deities?
Oh, Hare
Jai.
Bol.
Jai Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman.
This Ram, Lakshman and Janaki.
Hare Bol.
And this is Radha Krishna. Maharaj, थोड़ा उधर से ले जाना चाहिए अपना.
Jai Shri Sitaram.
Hare Bol. Wow, seems like a temple.
This is your home?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
No, Mother. It's our temple, Mataji.
Oh, your temple. Okay.
Mataji, yeah, this is our temple.
Jai.
This is the main deities, Mataji.
Hare Bol. Hare Krishna.
This is Akhand Jyot, Mataji. This one is from past 500 years. This lamp is burning, Mataji.
Jai.
500 years. It's basically in our life. Akhand Jyot, yeah.
Jai. Vinayaka teacher.
Yeah, the Maharaj.
Thank you. Thank you for the beautiful darshan. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Thank you,
Yes,
Madhavi.
Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Do we have Shamala on the call? Shamala, you wanted to give darshan of your deities? I'm not sure if she's here. Okay.
Right. If there are no more questions or comments, Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhyo patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Ananta Koti Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai.
Jai.
जय हरे कृष्णा प्रभु जी हरे कृष्णा माता जी
Hare
दंडवत
Krishna.
प्रणाम
Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Mataji, Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna. Krishna.
Mataji, thank you.
Thank you, Hare Krishna Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you, Janeshwar Gauranga Prabhu. Thank you, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji and Mataji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you very much.
Krishna, Rushan, Hare Bol. Thank you.
Long time.
Wonderful to see you. Hare Krishna.
हरे कृष्ण माताजी प्रभुजी कोटि कोटि दंडवत प्रणाम श्रील प्रभुपाद गुरुदेव कृष्ण राधा गोपीनाथ की जय हरि बोल.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji, Mataji. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Veena Mataji. Hare Bol.
Hare Krishna Mataji Prabhuji Dandavat Pranam. Thank you
Hare
Mataji.
Bol, Lavanya. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam. Thank you
Hare
so much for the
Hare
first
Krishna
session.
Prabhu. Thank you. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.